Do you know that movie from 1983, The Outsiders? You might have, if you were born in the late 70s or the early 80s, or you might read the book, although it's banned in some schools. But if you heard of it, here's a quick recap. Ponyboy Curtis gets jumped by a rival gang, the Scots, and his gang, the Greasers, came to rescue him. A few nights later, he and his friends Johnny Cade, a nervous reckless boy who is abused by his alcoholic parents, and Dallas Winston, a street rat that was in prison at the age of 10, went to the movies and met two Scott girls, Cherry Valance and her friend Marisa. When Johnny, Ponyboy, and their competitive friend Keith Two-Bit Matthews decided to walk to the girls' home, running to the girls' boyfriends. Cherry's boyfriend Bob, being the soul that he is, beats up Johnny a while ago. Johnny Ponyboy fell asleep in the lot. Ponyboy comes home at 2 in the morning, and his older brother Derry gets really mad and ends up hitting Ponyboy. Ponyboy and Johnny ran away and hide to an abandoned church until Daddy comes to get them. When they return to the church, it is on fire, and there were children inside the burning building. Ponyboy and Johnny go see the kids. The building collapsed on top of Johnny, thus burning him and breaking his back. Ed Dallas broke his arm while trying to put a fire out. They take him to the hospital and Ponyboy goes home. The next day, the Greasers and the Sox has a rumble or a street fight, and the Greasers win. Ponyboy and Dallas went to tell Johnny, but unfortunately Johnny died, telling Ponyboy to stay gold. Dallas freaks out and loses his mind, robbing a drugstore and eventually getting shut down by the police. Now that's out of the way, you may want to hear my story now. Well, recently I got a copy of The Outsiders for really cheap at Walmart, for about $4. It looks sort of banged up, but that's something I guess you should expect from Walmart. I paid for it, and when I did, I checked out the lady looked at me weird, as if I had done something she would have do. Nonetheless, she let me pay for it, as she continued to stare at me until I was gone and out of the store. It was really weird, but I shrugged it off. I went home and put the DVD player, but it didn't work. My DVD player is pretty old and worn out, so I decided to play it on my kind of new laptop, and it just worked fine. It went to the main menu. I watched the film. It was pretty good, and it was until I looked at the case again that I realized that I've gotten the complete novel version of it, so it has some additional scenes in it. After the film was finished, I took the disc out. The complete novel series had 2 discs. I went through the special features and I saw one that says lost / missing scenes. I click it thinking that it was missing scenes that they didn't make it to the final cut. Boy, I was wrong. Well, I was kind of right, but it was the most horrifying thing that I ever seen. The first scene was titled Abuse. I figured out that it has something to do with Johnny's parents' abuse. The scene opened up to a black screen. I waited for a few minutes, and then I heard someone yelling in pain. Then the scene turns to Johnny in a fetal position, sobbing to his knees. I always felt bad for Johnny. Seeing him sob made me feel terrible. Johnny just continued sobbing about 5 minutes, and it sounded a little weird. It didn't look like he was acting. It felt like the actor, Ralph Macchio, was actually sobbing not for the pain and sadness. Eventually, he looked up on his knees, and when I found, it was heart-wrenching. His face was covered with bruises and cuts. Some cuts were still bleeding. His eyes were red from crying, and he had a little snot mixed with blood running up to his nose. His lip was cut clean open, and it looked like it was really hurtful poor little Johnny. Then a shadow stood in front of Johnny, and Johnny whimpered and screamed. Then the scene cut to black. I was at a loss of words. I tried to take the DVD out of my laptop, but it wouldn't come out. Then the next missing scene come on. This one was called Lost. And I had to calm down a little, thinking this one might be straight more lightheaded than the last scene. Again, I was wrong. It was Soda, Ponyboy's older brother, and Steve, Soda's best friend. They were driving around in Steve's car. And after about 3 minutes, Soda finally spoke up, asking Steve where we were, and Steve said he didn't know, and thought he must have taken the wrong route home. After another 5 minutes, Soda and Steve started looking worried. They started to look around and even to the camera, as if asking the director what to do, and they hadn't practiced this scene before. Off camera, someone started yelling, and the car jumped a little. Steve and Soda stopped the car, and both got out of the car. At the back of the car, there was a mangled body with a plastic bag tied around his head. Steve cautiously took the bag off, and the body reveals to be Johnny's. He had severely cut and battered around, and then the bag tied around his head so he couldn't breathe. Soda started screaming for help, and Steve checked out the body to see if it shows any sign of life. But then the shadow figure stood in front of Soda and Steve. Soda screamed and Steve gasped. Then the scene cut to black again. But this time it showed pictures of Steve and Soda being mangled and stabbed. And it's showing up 5 minutes, and there were 3 scenes. I was crying. This was terrifying. Had they actually thinking of putting these scenes in the actual movie before they took them out? As I was thinking about how sick and twisted the director might be, the last scene started playing. It was titled Scared. I braced myself, thinking that the scene would be as disturbing as the last two, and maybe it was more thinking it's more disturbing